Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere that there's going to be a clip of this available to you to see, to look at, to view, all of that goody good stuff. How are y'all doing out there? Today's topic is no motivation. That's what's me yesterday. Had absolutely zero motivation whatsoever, and I hated it, you know? So, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson. Welcome to the show. So, what are y'all doing out there? How has everybody been doing? You know, Thanksgiving's right around the corner, which we will not have a show on Thanksgiving. Um, so, what's everybody doing out there? How are y'all doing? Are y'all killing it out there? Are y'all making the waves out there? What's going on in your lives? Like I said, yesterday, zero motivation whatsoever to do anything. And so basically, I didn't. I just basically vegged out yesterday. I did a little bit of artwork, but other than that, there was just absolutely no motivation to be had, you know? So I absolutely did nothing. And it's just how it goes. So, what is up with you guys today? You know? I'll be doing some colorizations, I'll be doing all kinds of stuff. Um, what are your plans for Thanksgiving? You know? What is going to be happening for Thanksgiving for you guys? Again, Thanksgiving is just around the corner. Today is the 25th. 2 days from now, Thanksgiving will happen. And, you'll get stuffed, you'll watch football. And I have to report a travesty out of Philadelphia. All the Eagles fans have gone missing um, after Sunday's blowout win by the Cowboys. So, official. Oh, let me flip this around real fast. There you go. Official drink of the Dallas Cowboys. There you go. Not to mention I'm repping today. Since I couldn't rep yesterday. I mean, I did rep yesterday, but the we weren't on yesterday. You know, so there you go. All right. So, what are you guys' plans for Thanksgiving? Like I said, I probably won't do a show on Thanksgiving Day just to get ready for um, the day itself. We're supposed to be spending it with some family, God willing, and the creek don't rise. That's what we'll be doing. And so that's what we're looking forward to, spending some time with family. And what are you blitzing out over there for? Calm yourself. So, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Give us some insight. What do you normally do for Thanksgiving? Do you even celebrate Thanksgiving? Depending on what parts of the world you're in. Some people don't, you know. And then some people, want it to be called something else. So, what do you guys do? And how do you get yourself back into motivation? You whenever you don't have any motivation to do something, whenever motivation seems to be lost out there. 2004, so it's not that old. Some old cards that I've got, different vehicle cards from a set of America on the Road, Celebrating America, collector cars. There you go. This one was just the Willie's cheap one. Right there. Right there. Don't forget to like, share, and follow when you get here. And we will do the same. Let me change this to that. Let's see if that gives us a better connection, because apparently it says we have unstable connection. So, what are y'all doing out there? How are y'all doing out there? Did you have motivation yesterday? Did you go to work yesterday? Are you ready for Thanksgiving? Or do you need to, you know, still prep for Thanksgiving? We are, like I said, going to be with family on Thanksgiving Day itself. And from there, we will be uh, spending, I'm not going to say the whole day there, but a majority of the day will be spent there. I don't even know what time it's kicking off with the fam. But we'll get that all squared away in a couple days, or even, I mean, she might even know when we're going over there. I don't. So, yeah, I had absolutely no motivation yesterday. That ever happened? That ever happened to anybody? No motivation at all? Absolutely nobody? I'm the only one? Nah. But it happens. You get into a small rut with yourself, and you just are like, I really don't want to do anything, you know? And you don't. And so that was my chill day was yesterday. And today I'll be back on it, hot and heavy. Like I said, getting some colorization finally done for some pieces out there that need to be done and gone right here. This is one of them. This is one of the pieces you can see right there. It is called a thalum. It is a friend of mine's creation. My creation is farther in the back, right up here. Same thought pattern, just different body types. It is from God of War, two of the main non-player characters out there, the Dreki and the Wolver, right there, right there. And so it's time to get this baby colored up and sent away, right there. And then you also have the Kingdom Hearts mashup with Blade Runner here, which is right here. You got Deckard down here fighting off I think they're the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts, and then you've got Sora up here fighting the replicants from Blade Runner. Again, another mashup piece from the person that wanted these commissioned, but this one is really, really cool. For you to look at and check out. I finished inking it up a while back, but now it's time to get the color on and get these sent off, so that he can have them and get it going and get it to his friend, and he can hang his on his wall and all that goody good stuff. But these are two of the pieces that I've worked on recently. Now I am in the process of working on an 8-page comic book right now called Condry, Man's Best Friend. I can show you these. These are the line works for the covers right here. This is what it looks like in just the straight black and white. And then whenever I took it over to Photoshop and added all the blacks, you can see how the silhouettes work right there. It is an homage to Frank Miller on this piece right here. If you know who Frank Miller is, 300, Sin City, all that good stuff. This is the other cover right here. And then once it's transformed into Adobe, you can see how the blacks lay out in there. All the black lighting and all the contrast, how it all lays out together. But it turned out really cool. And that little pop of red on his nose right there, that normalized cut that he's got. On all, it's even in the other one. It's just harder to see, just because you can see it right there if you get really really close on it right there. Boom, boom, boom. So there you go. That is the comic book I'm working on, Condry's Man Best Friend, and I'm on page 6 right now. I've penciled in all the other ones. Some of them are just really loose pencil, but I can't show you those, just because it is still a kind of a secret project for him, even though he's already let the cat out of the bag and he's showing little pieces, snippets here and there through Legacy Comics. So yesterday I didn't work on any projects whatsoever. I just basically vegged out. I watched horror movies. I watched oh, paranormal shows. Those type things. Because that's my bag. I like the paranormal. I live in a haunted house. Had a bunch of knocks happening yesterday in the front room that were very unexplained, coming from inside the wall, and it was an absolute tap. It wasn't just like something scurrying up the wall like a rodent or anything like that, but it was a deliberate tap on the wall. And it wasn't the walls, settling and all that stuff with the cold weather moving in and all that good stuff. So it is what it is on that note. Again, live in a haunted house, and it's exciting sometimes. Why it doesn't work? There's no batteries. And it takes 4 of them batteries, and there's no batteries in there. It's a mini flashlight right there. That's got a magnet on it, so you can stick it on any magnetized surface just like that. And, it shines a small light, a small LED light. I need to get the batteries in that so I can take it on the paranormal adventures, so we can stick them down the hallways and things of that nature, you know. And you're gone. Have a nice life. You're an idiot. And we're just going to report this person for inappropriate behavior. Give me just a second. And there we go. Hopefully he has a nice life out there. What a dickhead. If you want to do that, yes, they do. Chiefs play the Cowboys on Thursday. Another loss for the Chiefs. It'll be a good game. Just like Sunday night's game or Sunday afternoon's game against the Eagles and the Cowboys was a good game. The Eagles thought they had it locked up, 21 to nothing, going into the second quarter, and then they didn't score another point after that. So 30 plus minutes of not scoring, that hurts a team. But it is what it is. I mean, we couldn't score much more either. But we did score 24 unanswered points against them, against the Super Bowl chumps. But yes, it'll be a good game at home again. Short turnaround for both teams. So hopefully they got their injuries worked out, and everybody will be good to go. I know our defense is much improved with the additions of who we've added. especially in the run stop and all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good game. So, what's everybody doing for Thanksgiving out there? Are you ready for Thanksgiving, like I said? Are you not ready for Thanksgiving? Because we want to know. Sorry, I just moved all that. Let's see here. Oh, good. So when you do block them now, it takes away their conversation, which is good. Because, like I said, total dick move on that guy's part. So there you go. We're kind of ready for it. You know, it's surreal this year. Uh, this is the almost fourth year of me not being in the corporate world, especially in the retail side, doing what I used to do and doing everything on my own here. With the girlfriend's help, of course. Um, and it's been quite a ride, you know, all the way around. And doing artwork and homesteading, full time. It's a big chore, you know. Building a second chicken coop to house everybody together, so that nobody has to be apart from each other into separate little coops here and there. And then we'll have a brooder inside of it that'll introduce all of the new aminals to each other, those type things. And which is the new chickens or goats, or not goats, new chickens or geese or ducks or anything like that. We've got a separate brooder so they don't get pecked on and injured, or even uh, smilled, if you will. Just because that's what happens in the chicken world. They will pick on each other. They will harass each other, just kind of like real life. People harass everybody, you know, and people try to bully other people. And we don't got that around here. We don't do that. We don't tolerate that, you know. And and so whenever people do start bullying, report that shit, you know, because now internet bullying is a crime, you know. And so you can take that up with your local departments, police, FBI, anybody like that, IC3, all of that good stuff, and you can talk to them, you know. And so, what are your plans? Like today's topic is no motivation, because yesterday I absolutely had zero motivation to do anything, and that's on me, because I can get into the mindset of, well, I need to be 100% motivated, and keep my motivation going 100%, all that good stuff. But sometimes it doesn't work. And good morning, Casey. Welcome to the broadcast booth. You got your coffee in hand? That's the big question every time you join. Do you have your coffee in hand? And I know coffee is life for you, so most likely, huh? So, what is going on out there, everybody? And like I said, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody, for here at 412 Productions. Yes, this is a piece of my artwork you can purchase if you'd like. We've got a lot more. And I haven't shown you guys the t-shirts in a while. I might flip back through those here in a little while. Unsure yet, you know. But welcome. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Yes, we know you like your coffee black. No cream and sugar and all that good stuff. So how does it wash down? Didn't Mary Poppins say just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down? And that's coffee is medicine for some people? Dangerous Pumpkin, welcome to the broadcast booth. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We're talking about no motivation is what I had yesterday. And then we're talking about what you're doing for Thanksgiving, you know. And do you have plans for Thanksgiving? Or are you just going to chill at home by yourself? Some people like to do that, you know, because some people don't have a place to go for Thanksgiving, you know. And if someone that you know doesn't have a place to go for Thanksgiving, why not invite them along? You know, and because we're going to be doing that this weekend too, we're going to invite a couple people over that didn't have a place to go for Thanksgiving. You're cooking and eating by yourself. Sorry, man. If you were closer, I'd have you over. You know, it would be the day after because we're actually spending uh, Thanksgiving Day with her side of the family this year, and especially after the loss of her uncle, uh, the aunt doesn't want anybody other than family over. So, um, but that's just how it goes. I mean, it is a big loss to be the first year without, you know, her basically husband. And you're all good, bro. I knew what you meant. And it is, it's just one of those surreal things. You know, a lot of people have lost someone right before the holidays. And that is unfortunate that it does happen right before holidays sometimes. And they're not with us now, and so it'll be a surreal Thanksgiving for the most part. There will still be the fun and justivities, but when it comes down to it, there's still going to be that hole that's missing, from the party, from the Thanksgiving meal itself, and we'll be cooking, ours, for the weekend, either the day after, which will be Friday, or it'll be Saturday. I can't remember which day we're actually doing it. But one of those 2 days we'll be having it again, and we're going to invite some people over that didn't have family around to do Thanksgiving with. So um, we got the turkey thawed out already. So we are ready for that. We've got the stuffing ready. We've got we'll do a green bean casserole. All kinds of good stuff. Mashed taters. You gotta have mashed taters. You cannot have mashed potatoes. Probably some corn on the cob. I don't know what all we're gonna have yet, but we're gonna do it upright, you know, in celebration. And welcome to the broadcast, everybody. But yeah, yesterday I had zero motivation to do anything, so I just basically chilled out, vegged out. Like I said, watching horror movies and paranormal shows, and, excuse me, those type things, and did absolutely nothing else. It was kind of sad for me, anyway. We did go looking for our missing cat out in the back 40 back here, which is a wooded field where all the animals like to congregate, from deer to rabbits to armadillos to raccoons to possums to or coyotes, not wolves, coyotes. Um, there's probably some bobcats back in there too somewhere. But he's been missing for 9 days, and we'd rather have him home or know that he's okay somewhere. Because the not knowing is the worst part of it all. Mr. Angelo has been missing for 9 days now, and we have been looking for him. We've got posters out, at different places, uh, letting people know that he is chipped. So if you do take him into, you know, a vet somewhere and they scan him, it's going to pop up with our information. So unfortunately, it's not a tracking chip, so we can't track his location. We can just, hopefully he gets found that way, or he comes back home. You know, that's our hope, is that he comes back. And so just hoping upon hope. So we look forward to it. So, but we look forward to Thanksgiving Day because we do play the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day. I don't know how tough of a test it'll be. I'd have to go look up our record versus Kansas City. That's probably not been great as of late. Uh, let's see. We'll just do a Google search and see. Because we actually own the series of 80 now to 50 something over the Eagles in our rivalry. And everybody, and a lot of the Chiefs, or a lot of the, not Chiefs fans, a lot of the Eagles fans are like, what rivalry? It's just like, well, we've beaten you 80 times in the meetings, together. No, we actually hold the overall record over the Chiefs, too. 7 wins to 5 wins. There you go. And the Chiefs did win the most recent one back in 2021, 19-9. But since the matchup from the 1960s on, we beat them 7 times. They beat us 5 times. So there you go. That's good to know. That means we make it 8. Hey, the Eagles had 79 to 50 something, which was that's our record against the Eagles. And now there's a 7 and a 5 in this equation too. So it'll be 8-5. Nice. That'll be cool. So the earliest game was played back in 1970, where we beat them. And we lost the next one by a short margin in 75. Then in 83, we won by 20 points. And then in 89, they won at a short margin by 8 points. A short margin in 92 when we won 17-10. 95, we won 24-12. And then 98, we lost 20-17, so 3 points. 2005, we won 31-28, another short margin. 2009 was overtime. We won that one, a short margin. We lost to them by 1 point in 2013. I remember that game. I remember pretty much all these games except for the 1970 and 75. Anything after that, I kind of remember. Oh, let's see here. 2017, we beat them 28-17, and then of course 2021, we lost to them 19-9. So we have beaten them 7. They have beaten us 5. So there you go. Bum, bum, bum. All right. Let's see here. So, Casey, if you're here still, do you, how do you get back into motivation? Whenever you have no motivation to do anything, how do you turn it around? How do you kickstart it back into getting motivated again? Me, I just jump back into it just because I know that I have to. You people are waiting on things and deadlines, and not so much deadlines, but I mean, there is a small deadline on this 8-page comic. It isn't until next year, but there is a deadline for it. So, and we look forward to it. And so, but hopefully you all are doing great out there. Um, Hopefully you have some motivation for what you're doing out there today or tomorrow. I mean, today is what, Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, and then Thursday, it is Thanksgiving Day. And a lot of people want that name changed as well, you know. Just like they want Columbus Day changed. They want to change a lot of things. And you know, so why not, change other things as well? Why don't we change history all the way back to the beginning of time, you know? Why doesn't the Bible mention dinosaurs? It mentions dragons. It mentions, you know, a one-horned creature. We want lots changed. Yes, everybody wants lots changed. Apparently, in this day and time, um, you know, and and that's how it goes. I mean, that's the cancel culture for you. If we don't get our way, let's cancel it, and we want it like Burger King. We want it our way. You know, and that's not how history works. You don't get to just pick and choose what part of history you want to learn out there. All of history is important history, no matter controversial or not. You know, and but Casey, since you're here, how do you get motivated to get your? Oh, you know what? Here, how about that? How about we turn some light on? Jeez, my head is not in the game today. That's how unmotivated I was yesterday. So, um, what? How do you get back into motivation mode, Casey, or anybody that's here? How do you get back into motivation? Me, like I said, I jumped back into it, guns a blazing, and it is uh, one of those things that it's like, well, you've got to get back into it. You can't. Well, thank you for that out there. That was kind of cool. So thank you, Stormy, for that. Very, very much appreciated on that. The gifts are always fun. They're always appreciated because all the stuff that comes back into that, the gifts and the likes and stuff like that, gets turned back into the business side of things, the printing process and all that good stuff. Um, for all of my artwork that I do, for whenever I get back into the convention side. Like this will be a print. It's already in T-shirt form, so it'll be a print and it'll be a canvas. So I'll have an 11 by 17 print plus a 16 by 20 canvas art print of this piece that you see here on me. Just like Mr. Dexter back there, he'll be turned into a shirt as well. I've already got a Dexter shirt from the very first picture I ever did of Dexter, and the shirt of it looks very cool, especially on a red shirt. And uh, he says, I do necessary stuff, but extra is hard sometimes. I don't get it done. I get that. I totally understand that. You know, and that's me. I've got this 8-page comic that I've got to get done. I've got those pictures to color up and get them finished. I've got to give these new markers a shot that the girlfriend bought me. They're dual tipped and they don't bleed through. And whenever you color with them, they blend nicely. They don't do like the alcohol markers where once they start running out, you can see the streaks on the page. And I can show you sample after sample of that. Where had to go back in there and basically fill it back in, um, and things of that nature. So uh, that's those are some pretty cool markers. So I'm ready to give them a try, and I'll probably break them out on this piece right here, this Decker piece, or the Kingdom Hearts Blade Runner mashup right here. That's probably what I'll use it on. To be honest with it, and there'll be a lot of watercolors on the other one. On this one here, just so the colors can blend together, and then the water down here, all this water down here, has to have your contrast of the lights of the blues and then the dark blues going down in here. So, and then of course the skyline and all that good stuff. So, I'm looking forward to using some new techniques and things of like that on these pieces. Excuse me. So, no motivation. You have to turn it around. Like I said, I jumped right back into it, both feet into the mud puddle and splash around like a little kid. Um, and you know, the whole aspect of it all boils down to, you just gotta, you can't stay motivated all the time, you know, and you hear it from all sides. No, you can stay motivated 24/7 and yada yada. No, you can't. There's gonna be your times that you just want to veg and chill and not do a damn thing, out there. And that was my yesterday. I didn't do any yard work. I didn't do any chopping of firewood. I didn't do any artwork. I sat in here and tried to do some artwork, at the beginning of the day like I normally do, but didn't do a damn thing. And yeah, I mean it was all I could do to keep a log on the fireplace, you know, because it was a rainy, cooler day yesterday. You know, it's sitting in the 50s right now, and but that wind chill yesterday um, made it more like 40, probably about 48 to 46 degrees, something like that. But and then whenever you did get out to let the animals out to use the bathroom or put the chickens back into the coop at night, it did start to rain. So that, and then you had the wind on top of that, so you got chilled a little bit faster. Oh, we did complete a nice little run of polished crystals. 40 days in the making. That's an awful long time to polish some stones. And let me just go grab those real fast. Give me just one. You'll be able to hear me as I'm going to be talking back and forth on this. For the most And they turned out really nice. They turned out really cool. But here they are, all nice and polished up. But yeah, 40 days to polish some crystals. And that's where I messed up with a lot of the ones that we did before. Was that I did not let them run their full 40 days. I would interrupt the process. I would let it do its thing. And so we ended up with, crystals that look like this. You know, they don't have the sharp edges like they used to. Um, but they're nice and smooth and shiny, and they look really good. Even some of the bigger ones, it's almost got the. I wish you could really see it. I'm gonna get you guys to see that. There you go. You can see it a little bit better right there. You can still start to see through this thing, but it's got that nice high shine on it. And this used to be a big spear. It did have the nice sharp edges and all that stuff. But we've got a lot of those, so we decided to throw some of these bigger ones in here. And just like this one, you can still see the roughness inside of it, uh, all the way around it. But now it's nice and smooth, and it can be turned into a nice little necklace, or even an amulet to be worn on the wrist, those type things. But a lot of these turned out a lot better than we were expecting, you know, and going from sharp points to basically all the edges being round off because you used four different processes. That's why it takes 40 days because each process is a 10-day process, you know, and it's just rather amazing. I'm showing a little bit closer to the other camera up here. I wish you could really, really see the the veins in there and all that good stuff, but you can't. Um, but so many of these came out really nice, a lot of crystal clear. You know, you'd be like, oh, that's not a crystal, that's glass. No, this is actual crystal, and this used to be a spear. You know, but they turned out really nice. And so there's a lot of jewelry possibilities in here, from necklaces to rings to earrings and all that good stuff. No two will be exactly the same, of course, but a whole box right here. We didn't do a ton to start out because we wanted to see how the process really worked. So, and now that we know, because after rereading more information out there, it's like, no, you have to go 40 days, 10 days on each process, you know, and uh, and that's where I'd been going wrong because we tried polishing stone before, especially stones that we find that were really colorful and things of that nature, and uh, and they just never turned out. They were always still dull. They were always still had the sharp edges and things like that. And so it was just like, well, what are we doing wrong? I followed the instructions, so I thought. And so then I got to rereading everything, and it's like your very first process, which is the start of your 10 days per process, is your crucialest moment of it all. I love my unpolished ones you sent. I sleep with the big one. That's awesome. Yeah, the unpolished are really cool. I actually have a couple sitting right over there from some of our digs, and they're very cool because they do have the sharpness to them, and that makes them awesome in and of themselves. And then I've got some more scattered around the house right now, and there's a lot of stones that we have found, not just at stone shops and things like that, but at other places, just, walking around. Sitting around over here in my stone collection, which is up top and down below. I've got two sections for it. But but no, the unpolished ones are very awesome because they still have those nice sharp points. And, we're thinking about getting a triple band uh, polishing grinder section to my grinder out there, and doing each step to brighten up, some of these stones, some of these spears and tips and things like that, to give them a really good shine as well. But we haven't gone that far yet, just because we haven't wanted to invest that kind of money yet. We are getting deep into the rock hunt as it goes, because every time we flip open one of our Facebook pages, it shows somebody else finding these huge crystals, um, out at some of the ones that we've been to, and it's just like, well, damn, we missed that one. Well, damn, we missed that. And it's just like, well, we're ready to go back. We were trying to do one a month, but we just haven't made it that far yet. And you know, it's just like, well, why can't you hit one a month? Well, life happens. You this month we didn't go. Last month we did. Maybe we'll go in December. When it's cooler, um, because we want to find some of those cool ones out there. Some of those big clusters. I mean, we've got some nice tabletop pieces or shelf pieces. You know, uh, Once we clean them up some more, get off all of the loose crystals, tips that are on it, and things like that are held in place by the clay, and go from there. Because we're gonna find some really cool pieces that we've brought home. As soon as I started washing some off or letting the rain hit a bunch of these, you know, you're seeing all this nice crystal clusters on top of this stuff, and so it's very cool stuff. And I'm surprised, Casey, that up in Maine there aren't some places like that where you could go dig. I mean, you might not want to go dig for them yourself. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know if Maine has anything like that up there or not. I'm just thinking out loud. But especially with all the mountains up there, mountainous areas over in that way, you know, Canada a stone's throw away for you. Canada out your back door. That's a horrible view to have. armed guards walking the border on a regular basis. I doubt they have that, but they have a tighter security over there than we do. So that's for sure. Let's see here. So no motivation. You throw yourself back into your work. Well, that's cool. And he's not. But I bet they do. I saw a drone guide for regional semi-precious stones. That's cool. They've got to have them guards on there. I'm surprised more things don't use, drones. Like armored transports and like your Loomis trucks and things like that. I'm surprised that they don't use more drones with these vehicles just to keep them protected, if you will, because you hear about all the heists that happen. Not so much like where I'm at, but you do hear the capers out there, and I mean one of the most famous, DB Sweeney. You know, but yeah, no, it's. I'm surprised drones aren't used more in certain situations, and yeah, because you can use non-lethal, things out there with your drones, but why? Oh lordy. So no motivation to more motivation. That's you got to keep it balanced out there. You do need breaks. You do need to take a mini vacation for yourself, if you will. Just because if you don't, you burn out. Like I saw someone was on really, I think it was on TikTok. She was talking about how you aren't you aren't what your hobby is. You know, and I got to thinking about that, and it's just like you're right. You are who you are. You're not your hobby. You're not a you know an artist. You're not a this, that, or the other. You are still that person. So you've got to know your identity outside of your artwork or your musicianship or your whatever. And that stuck with me a little bit because so many people label themselves as I am an illustrator. I am this. I am that. Well, what are you outside of that? You know. And Casey says, I'd love to go do to the Crystal Cave there in Arkansas. I can imagine the energy, giant crystals. Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Um, and there's a lot of them that you can actually mine inside of the crystal mine, and we haven't done that yet because I'm not sure if there's a time limit on those. Those are the ones that I got to look into a little more, um, just because that is some of the stuff that we want to do is do some crystal mining inside of an actual mine. You know, is it safe? Absolutely not. Just because one wrong hammer stroke and here comes a whole wall. But you might find some cool crystals for somebody else because you're underneath that wall. Oh, and who knows? You could have been impaled by crystals on the way down. You know, but no, that would be cool too to go do that. And I've seen some of those, and that's a lot of work. Kind of like when we were busting open boulders for some of the pieces that we brought home, just because there were some really cool pieces. Had some really nice big crystals inside of them, about that wide, about yay tall, you know, that were jutting into the rock surface, and you can see the crystal vein, going through there, the quartz vein, and just making the crystals, and very cool stuff. How it all works, how it all plays out over the years, over the thousands and thousands of years, and just the friction of sand and movement and all that stuff over the years, how it creates that crystal clear. look, you know, and how I think this might be one. Lose that off my hat. Huh, I bet you heard that, didn't you? I bet you heard that, didn't you? My bad. It slipped off. There we go. Like this right here. This crystal clear piece. I'd like to live in a giant crystal hollowed out and buried. Oh, that'd be cool. This one right here, it is a little rough around the edges, but thousands of years of, you know, just sand and friction and movement and, just being pushed up through the Earth's core, over thousands and thousands of years, millions of years, yes. And yeah, it is a little rough because it had other crystals pressed up against it and, those type things, but it's still a beautiful piece all the way around because it's still bits of crystal embedded in it, where they were forming. And, you don't find stuff like this just laying around. Yes, you can. But especially after a fresh, rain and move some dirt around, you can find this relatively easy, especially at the Avant Crystal Mine. Now, um, Ron Coleman, it's a little bit tougher to find stuff like this just lying around. But, you know, once you find a little pocket, you usually find some decent ones. This is just one of the one. I think we did find this one at Ron Coleman. I think this was part of our first dig, up at Ron Coleman. But this one we had to literally dig for, 100% right there. But it's very cool because you get to see the different layers in there. Because like there's a nice little layer that cuts through almost at a straight angle, going in through it right there. You can't see it here, but it's in there. Very difficult to see unless you're just looking at it, going over the piece itself. Because you can see a layer there, and then you get into where it was in the quartz itself. Yes, not all light is transparent. Have you seen the difference in colors of crystal? Oh yeah, absolutely. The prism that it creates whenever this gets into the light. Oh yeah, absolutely. The prism effect. But yeah, it's just to find that stuff, because millions of years of evolution right there. Like Casey said, instead of my thousands of years. Um, it's just amazing to be able to go dig it yourself instead of going to a store and being like, "Oh, that's cool, I'll buy that." You know. Now that's why we are looking at selling off, several of ours because we've got a ton. I mean, literally, we have a ton worth of crystals, and that's why she's wanting to make some jewelry out of some of this stuff and even out of the rough stuff that we've got. Just because, why not? You know, other people do it, and they make a decent amount on them. And that's what we're going to do with all this stuff. We're going to start making jewelry out of the crystals. We're going to start taking, layers off of the big pieces that we've got and getting them down to basically the crystal bed itself to where you can put it on a shelf, put it on a tabletop, whatever you want to do with it. We'll have those pieces available as well. Those are just going to be a little bit more delicate to get taken care of, just because they are massive and they are brittle, at the same time. Because you start hitting in the wrong place, you're going to start causing another fissure going up somewhere else, and then you're going to break the whole piece. So that's why you see a lot of people um, using different saws and things like that to cut away, different layers so that they're not just tapping it with a hammer, and hoping for the best. Uh, which I do have some tile saws that might work in stone. I'm not 100% sure, uh, but we'll give that a try. just to see, because um, I got to do something to get them nice and smooth, so it can sit there and be good, on that note. So, but motivation comes in different forms. Motivation comes in different ways. You know, some people take energy shots for motivation because they lack it, or they're just completely tired. You know, and I get that. I don't sleep well at night anyway, even with my CPAP machine through the military. Um, and so, I anywhere between 3 to possibly 4 hours of sleep a night. I don't get that 8 hours of sleep like a lot of other people do. Um, Now there are some nights that I come close. Like the other night I slept for a little over 7 hours. So that was good for me. Uh, Sometimes it feels like too much sleep. When it comes down to it, and so it is what it is. I look forward to one of these days where I can sleep all through the night. You know, and just look forward to a good night's sleep. Maybe it's with a sleeping pill or something. And yes, I'm a little tired because I woke up 3 different times last night, and not a great night's sleep yet again. So that's why I'm talking about sleep right this second. But I appreciate everybody being here that has stopped in, checked out the channel, even if it is for just a brief moment. Don't forget to like, share, and follow, and we will do the same. Uh, let's see here. Um, bum, bum. So, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? I know Casey's already told us what he's going to be doing for Thanksgiving. You've already heard what I'm going to be doing for Thanksgiving. So, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? And thank you for the 16,000 likes out there, and the shares and the follows. And good morning, Annette, if you showed up on the live for your brief moment, which is cool. I love it. So, hopefully, you all are going to have a great Thanksgiving. I am undecided, but I'm pretty sure that I'm probably not going to do a Thanksgiving Day broadcast just because there's no sense in it being Thanksgiving Day. Even though I could because it is still bright and early in the morning, and I'm pretty sure the festivities aren't going to kick off until later in the day. Uh, and so, you know, I hope Fred the Shoe Bill shows up here Thursday. I have a place for him. That's awesome. I saw your picture that you changed it to the shoe bill. Those are just awesome birds, prehistoric monstrosities that could eat your head. You know, and they're just cool. I would actually like to own one. You know, it would keep a lot of people out of your yard. That's for sure. Uh, but spoonbills too, awesome. Now our spoonbills are a little bit different. Our spoonbills are catfish out here uh, when it comes to that. So, oh, awesome. And good morning, Annette. Welcome to the show. And let's see here. He said Fred has a nest on the river. That's cool. That's very awesome. And you know, I'm looking forward to Thursday for Thanksgiving. How about you, Annette? But he sits with me a lot. He doesn't say much. Not even that deep growl that he does. He doesn't talk much about that. The one that scares the crap out of people. And that's why I would love to have him. Have him sitting out there in the dark and that comes through. You know, and it's just like, whoa, what was that? That would be just cool. I mean, I'm sorry, it would be. And it's all just good. there's so much out there in life that um, we want to experience, we want to see, we want to, like you can say you've seen Fred out there, you know, and I have not yet personally seen one in the wild, and I want to see one in the wild, you know, which means I've got to go to the places that they are, that they show up at, and very cool birds though. I would still love to own one, just like the girlfriend would love to own an emu and an ostrich, and you know, certain other animals out there that the yard possibly could take care of, you know, because it is a decent sized yard. It's not huge, but you know, but they are very clumsy birds, so we would have to do a lot of cleanup in the yard right now, which has to happen anyway, and it's going to happen, and it's been happening since I moved in. You should have seen it when I first moved in. You know, absolutely horrid with everything that was left behind. You know, and it's just like crazy what people leave behind. You know, but all right, folks, I'm gonna get off. How long have you? I've been here for almost 4 years. Uh, what was it? 22. So this will be my third full year here, and the ghost didn't like Dexter up on the wall. They decided to throw him down because there's no reason why he should have fallen. So there you go. You guys got to see a little bit of poltergeist activity right there. You witnessed it firsthand. Because he should not have fallen. He hasn't been moved. He hasn't been touched, and he's been up there for what, almost 4 days now. But yeah, I've been here for. This will be my third year solid here, and start of fourth in 26. So, uh, got here late in, actually this month is, and probably could be, yeah, I've already been here 3 years as of the 11th of this year, of November. So, so yeah, and it doesn't seem like it's been that long. Sometimes it seems longer with everything that you keep finding around the house that needs to be fixed. You know, like all my floors. Um, but it is what it is. But I'm going to leave you guys, you know, with thinking about your Thanksgiving Day meal. You know, what you're going to have, what you're going to stuff yourself with, you know, all that good stuff. But I do appreciate each and everybody being here, checking us out. 21,000 likes is not shabby. That is putting us up in the, you know, the daily ranking section of the lives, and popular live at that. And we appreciate that. And all the gifts that have come through as well. Much appreciated on that. But as we like to say, as we leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.